So what does pen pal and mail have to do with actual ports in computers? Well, it turns out the same idea of room numbers basically applies to computers as well. So let's say that I have a computer with multiple programs or applications running. For example, right now, this computer is running one connection for Zoom to talk to all you fine people online, and it's running a second connection to download these nice-looking lecture slides. So that means that my computer is sending two different connections, or it's sending and receiving packets from two different connections. So in order to distinguish which connection is which, I can use port numbers. And this would be especially important if, for example, I had two connections to Google Slides open, or maybe I'm in two calls, so I'm connected twice to Zoom. Well, in that case, when Zoom sends me a reply, my computer needs to know which of the two Zoom applications should receive that packet. And this is where ports come in. They can help us distinguish between two different applications on the same computer. So for example, if I'm sending a packet, I can put that it's coming from port number 40,000 and it's going to port number 80. And this way, when the reply comes back, that room number 40,000 tells me which application on my computer that packet should be sent to. So this IP address specifies my computer, not that one, not any other computer. And then this port number specifies which of the applications on my computer we are talking about. So one other important point about ports is that they don't replace IP addresses. So for example, in the mail analogy, if I walked up to the post office and I said, here is a letter for room number 80, the post office is going to have no idea what you're talking about. Where is room number 80? What are you talking about? You still have to have the street address. We haven't replaced that functionality whatsoever. You still need to say, this is for 123 Bob Street, or whatever his address is. You're just additionally adding a room number to specify which room in that building you're talking about. So the same thing applies with computers. You still have to say what the IP address is at layer 3 so that we know which computer you're talking about. And then the port number lets you specify one of the applications on that computer. So that's another important point about ports. Now, just like in the analogy, if we're on a private computer, I can choose any ports that I want. My computer can send a packet to Zoom on port 40,000 or 30,000 or 32,600. It doesn't matter. Any of those numbers are fine. I can pick whatever number I want, and the replies will just come back to that same number. That's totally fine. However, if you're on a public server, say you're the person running Zoom or you're the person running the Google web server, you had better make sure that your port number is constant and well known so that anybody who wants to visit your service knows which port number to contact. It'd be very bad if Google was constantly changing where it was offering its services and users didn't know which port to contact. So that port number should be constant, and everyone should know it. And as for how we know these port numbers, usually it just depends on what protocol you're using. So for example, all of the HTTP websites tend to use port 80. Everyone with SSH has a specific number that I don't remember. If you were playing some game, maybe they have a specific number. So usually it's based on the purpose of what you're trying to access or what layer 7 protocol you're trying to access. But the important thing is just that there's some constant fixed number. And as we said earlier, TCP is built on top of IP, so ports do not replace addresses, but they are an addition to help us specify applications on a computer.